All right, I guess our last story of the night. In a way, this is another comedy series from HBO. It looks like it's going to be another one of these. Maybe is it going to be like a self-documentary style series too?
That I don't know, but I do think that this is, you were saying the other night, or a couple weeks back, you said that the Last Action Hero you felt was like the end of the era of the action hero.
Yes.
And I think this is basically the same thing for the superhero genre.
No, I think the whatever wave of the MCU was the end of the superhero. But
Well, yes. But I mean, this fits the niche of the. Now we've gone from loving these stories and being inspired by them to mocking the crap out of them because they've gotten so.
part of the problem with the MCU is they hire Robert Downey Jr. to play Iron Man. Robert Downey Jr. is funny. He's a genuinely funny guy. He used to star in comedies back in the 80s. He was in Back to School, if I remember. The trouble is, that doesn't mean like every superhero in the MCU needs to be, and there always has to be this weird humor in every single movie now. And it doesn't always hit. Like in the last Ant-Man they did, especially with one character where he said, I guess I get to die an Avenger at least. Says, no, you're not an Avenger. And then he dies. It's like, that's kind of mean. I mean, you can at least let him think that and not say anything. I mean, just ridiculous. Okay. There's a situation discussed in HBO's upcoming series, The Franchise, a comedy about the behind-the-scenes struggle to make a superhero movie that sounds rather absurd. A director laboring on a fictional Marvel-like film, gradually realizing the studio brass has changed their mind about the project's creative direction and started secretly shooting the quote-unquote real movie somewhere else while he continues to film scenes destined to be scrapped. Yet this has actually happened to at least one filmmaker working on a franchise movie, according to the show's producers. All the research we did, and we did tons, spoke to so many people. The actual chaos on superhero movies was really surprising, says the franchise creator John Brown of Succession, who made the series along with Armando Lanucci of Veep fame, and Oscar-winning director Sam Mendes of 1970. People think these movies are laid out in neat phases for the next 10 years. Then you hear about a set where in the morning a limo literally pulls up, the window comes down, and they hand out new script pages. Or producers on set have 8 versions of the same script open, and they go through each script, cherry-picking lines, and then they Frankenstein a scene out of nothing, or the studio sends an actor to the set in the morning and they basically rewrite the day's entire scene to accommodate the last minute cast addition. You would assume that this was decided 2 years ago, but it's happened a lot across Marvel and DC movies, which is, as a result, the writers of the franchise found themselves in rather opposition of sometimes making story choices for their show that were less wild than the real life anecdotes they were hearing from industry insiders. You think, I know this is real, but it seems too silly, Brown said. So we sometimes have to take it back a step because you don't think people will realize it until they know it's true. It's kind of odd, too, that basically Warner Media is funding this, right?
Yeah.
Considering Warner Media with their DCU.
They've been having,
which was more of a disaster than Marvel, in my opinion.
They've never actually found their footing, to be honest with you. Real quick, I did want to say for the benefit of Space Frag, we said I had a Klingon dictionary translation book. You are correct, Troy. What I would say to that is "Pet vi mucht devme Tibet."
Oh wow!
Curse well.
Curse well.
Yes.
Okay.
That's one of those cultural things that, you got to understand Klingon culture in order to even understand the idiom.
I almost wanted to say that's a lot of words just for a curse, and then the Klingon said, "Well, I guess we Klingons take cursing more seriously than you humans do." So they would probably say, right?
You'll find that in a lot of different cultures. What one language might say very succinctly, another language might require a few more words. For example, in Klingon, you wouldn't say "I hate you." You would say "I love you not."
Really?
Yes. Huh. And the way you're adding that "not" at the end literally makes the word opposite. So it's not like "I don't love you," it's "I opposite of love you." which would be, in English, I hate you.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I remember watching a YouTube video before my divorce on how Logan was going to be the harbinger at the end of harbinger of the end of the super. You mean the movie Logan?
In a way, well, it definitely was for the 20th Century Fox superheroes.
Here's how I sort of saw Logan at the time, at least. I didn't look at it as something I had to treat as canon. Almost what you might consider like an Elseworlds. I was saying it was an experiment. Like, there's an interesting line in it when he's looking at the X-Men comics and he gets angry. He says, half the stuff in these comics never even happened, and the other half didn't happen the way they say it did.
Yeah.
So it's like,
exactly.
What's true? Disturbing stuff in Logan, though.
Speaking of which, I had actually forgotten that was in Logan. Did you know that in the Silver Age DC canon, the comic book writers in the real world were supposedly writing the stories of the superheroes in Earth 1, Earth 2, and so forth, and the real world was referred to as Earth Prime, and it was they actually played around with that, where sometimes Superman might actually come to Earth Prime and meet Julius Schwartz or something like that. And so, and the question is, and I don't think they ever resolved it in the Silver Age, did people like Julius Schwartz have the ability to change the lives of people in that universe, or were they just telling the stories of the people in that universe? It was never really extrapolated on. Anyway, sorry, I just wanted to share that.
No, that is interesting, though. Oh, I see. Another thing.
With poop. No. Yeah.
That actually is the Klingon response to that. Yeah. No, anyway, I'm kidding. The result is a biting and witty workplace comedy that follows the cast and crew of Tecto, a movie about a superhero who can make earthquakes. The players include an insecure star, Billy Magnuson, an arrogant British thespian, Richard E. Grant, a frustrated visionary director, Daniel Bruhl, and an ambitious new producer, Aya Cash. But the show's focal point is the production's beleaguered first assistant director, Daniel, who desperately tries to keep all the plates spinning and ego-satiated while mentoring a pestering third AD, assistant director, played by Ali Defope. The bidding art of the show has to do more with the assistant directors, PAs, and script supervisors, line producers, and crew actually make films and get no public praise for it, says Mendez, while Braun adds, we want to make a show about craft people who are trapped inside a dysfunctional machine rather than a crew of fuck-ups who can't get anything right. So it's an interesting take on movie making, I think. Don't you?
Yeah.
A show about movie making?
I think it's actually, it could actually be brilliant. I'm not going to assume anything, but yeah.
Apparently, though, I think there's a stand-in, though. The fictional productions boss is Pat Shannon, played by Darren Goldstein, a brutally pragmatic executive for Maximum Studios who declares franchise fatigue is not a real illness and a scam. The character will doubtless remind viewers of Marvel chief Kevin Feige. He kind of looks like him on the show.
Oh, wow.
I saw the trailer, yeah. Though producers say the character is written very differently. Everyone we spoke to said Kevin Feige is an incredibly nice man, Brown says. So straight away as a writer, you're like, that's a shame. Be a real monster and we can go after him. But yet Feige having such a hands-on role at a prolific studio is certainly critiqued. Brown suspects giving so much creative authority to one person is one source the MCU struggle. There's a very thin funnel that Marvel production go through, which is Kevin Feige's brain, he says. All these decisions come down to one guy. I was doing 8 episodes of one TV show, and that was enough to make me nearly mad. Imagine having a slate of those movies and TV shows in your brain constantly while being told by people above you that Rotten Tomatoes scores are down, box office is down, and engagement is down. You would say it's his own fault, though, wouldn't you?
Exactly.
But I did like this. One of the debut season's best episodes features producers and crew members grappling with the studio having a woman problem, too few female superheroes. It's a situation Marvel and DC likewise have publicly and awkwardly tried to address. In the show, the producer's solution is to insert an actress into the film midway through production and give her character an all-powerful phallic weapon from comic book lore, causing online fans to have a meltdown. That's kind of funny. But I don't know. I don't know. Do you know what DC's problem was? Is that they they for some reason didn't see the value of Wonder Woman. Right?
Yeah, and they like I said, they waited too long with it. I think that would have been brilliant if they had started basically what Marvel did with Captain America, the first Avenger. Yeah, you should have started out with Wonder Woman set in World War II.
I know they didn't want to do that. They did World War I instead. Yeah. You didn't like that, did you?
Real quick, David, I saw that you my translation on that comes out something as like student that I give, that's kind of how I was translating that. I'm not sure it was getting at what you wanted, but you definitely have the grammatical constructs. You pluralize students. You use the possessive verb sent, I, him, her, it, them, with the v. So, yeah.
D-Pensix says, I'm a script supervisor. Rewrites are a pain through and through. Yeah, because how can you keep continuity when the continuity is incessantly changing on a dime? That would drive me nuts if I was a script supervisor.
Well, you first have to accept that there is a canon, and they don't. They deride this as complete fiction, so they feel like they can do whatever they want. And the fans are going, no. There is an established canon, and if you go outside of that, it is not that thing anymore, and we reject it.
And in this case, the canon changes in the movie itself that you're working on. It's like, we established this already, and now you're changing it.
That's right.
But yeah, that's the franchise. We'll see. I'm kind of blasé on TV right now, but this might be one worth watching. I think it's something to be a Lampoon. They were originally going to make this about a espionage, a spy film. Then they said, no, we got to do superhero. It's too on the nose with these types of problems,
Yeah.
Of course, I would argue the last James Bond movie probably had similar issues where they were rewriting the script on the first day of filming. That's always good.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe leave it alone. Maybe have a script ready ahead of time. That's what you used to do.
Well, and see, I would even say that better writers have had better planning, right? We keep referring back to, for example, Babylon 5, where J. Michael Straczynski had the whole series already planned out.
Yep.
He knew where it was all leading to, right? One could theorize that the same is true of George Martin, although we'll never know. But I'm going to tell you also, those of you that are following me on Tuesdays with the Blake 7 rewatches, Terry Nation also, he had written the last episode before he started the series. So he knew what he was leading up to the whole way along. And the payoff is worth it. I don't think that enough. And I do feel that not Kevin Feige, what's his name? Jon Favreau. He had his arc planned out. He had it planned out, the whole inception of the Avengers, leading up to the Infinity Gauntlet and the Endgame. He had it all planned out. That's why it worked so well. But when he stepped away from it and other people started to take over, that's when it started falling apart. And you actually see that before Endgame.
Well, there was the Captain Marvel movie.